Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Sonia and today we are talking about stress, what it is, what it causes and how we can prevent it. So what we know about stress is not always a bad thing. Stress happens because we need it to help us perform. Normally, our increased fight or flight mechanism comes in when we need to perform in, say, a race, or we need to get up and do a presentation. So that is when our stress response kicks in, and it is meant to last for a short period of time, not a long period of time. So when it lasts longer than it's meant to, then that becomes the problem and can cause things like cardiovascular disease, cancer, obesity, and other health issues, and lead to a premature death. So if you like learning information that can help you live healthier, that is valid and science-based, then you need to subscribe to my channel. I upload every Thursday and I'd love to have you as part of my community on my YouTube channel, and you can also find me on Instagram as well. So don't forget to do that. And we're going to be talking about, so what is stress? How do we know we're stressed? And what can we do to ease and prevent it? So what is stress? So stress is a physiological response, but when activated too often or for too long, the fight or flight stress response, it will damage your brain and other parts of your body. You do not choose it. It happens to you in your body and in your head. Stress is a survival mechanism. Your body gets all its resources ready, together, totally focused to fight or flight. So you get the pounding heart, which allows you, preparing for you for action, sending lots of oxygenated blood to your muscles and your limbs. Your breathing becomes more rapid because, of course, our brain needs more oxygen and so does our muscles and our limbs. So all this happens together without us even knowing. So that is meant to be to get us through a problem. And, we all see the caveman with their fight or flight. When they come across a tiger, they either fought it or ran away from it. So, here's some pictures here I'll put there. But of course, we don't have those sorts of stresses. We have a lot of different stresses. And how you respond and master this stress will keep you healthy in the long run. So some of the common stresses that we have are things like our health concerns. We might already have some health concern that we're concerned about, or a family member with a health concern that we are concerned about and that we find stresses us. It could be public speaking. You have to do presentations for work, or constantly being on Zoom or whatever it is. Or it could be making your YouTube channel. Speaking to a camera and to a community is totally different than just having a conversation with a person beside you. So it can be a number of things. It can be family conflict. We know that when we're in conflict with others, we tend to feel more anxious and irritable, and so this is a form of stress as well. It can be our pressure to achieve, whether it's in our studies, we're studying at uni or at school or as a mature adult, and we need to achieve, we can't afford to fail the units. So of course the pressure is on to achieve, and we all like to achieve high grades, but there's the amount of work that has to go into it, and of course to write things and submit them on time. So deadlines are another stressor. Other things like our never-ending to-do list. We can make up lists and work through it, but there's always something else. I don't know if you're a list person, but I like lists. My husband hates them. I wonder why, because then he might have to do them. But he does do things in his own time, and he's very good at that. However, I function best with a list, but one that always is something to do on is not a good thing either. Work-related stresses, and of course things like coronavirus has caused a huge stress on populations worldwide. And, we all have the issue with coronavirus of wearing masks in public. It could be, here in Victoria, we're still in stage 4 lockdown. I haven't had a haircut in weeks and had to clip don't look too close at my fringe. I had to trim my fringe on the weekend with my nursing scissors. They're not meant, they're good for bandages and dressings and just things, not hair. Anyway, I also gave my husband a haircut. That was interesting. He told me how to do it the whole time. He's lucky he has any hair on his head and I didn't just go with the clippers. So, having no hairdresser to go to, colouring my own hair, wearing masks, getting blemishes on my face because of the mask. Long hours at work wearing masks aren't nice either. So this can all cause problems. And of course, our social media, scrolling through Instagram can cause stress. I advise you to have a look on Netflix. They actually have a documentary on artificial intelligence and Facebook, Instagram, and Google. And it's quite informative. And I think you'll regard your device as something different after you've watched it. So just a little heads up there. So how do we know that we're stressed? Well, you might go to your GP and they say you've got high blood pressure. You've never had it before. Well, what's stressing you? What's different in your life? Is it stress? Is it something that you're worrying about that is causing stress? So chronic stress can cause things like hypertension, cardiovascular disease, gut and bowel disturbances, weight gain. It can cause acne, fatigue, sexual dysfunction, headaches, muscle irritability, and just general anxiousness. So the adrenal gland is located on the top of the kidneys, and its role is to produce adrenaline, cortisol, and noradrenaline. And what happens with this, as these travel around in the blood, adrenaline causes your heart to race or to beat faster and raises your blood pressure. And over time, if this isn't addressed, it will cause hypertension. So the cortisol is floating around too and can cause problems with the endothelium, which is the inner lining of your blood vessels. And what this can do is it causes atherosclerosis or like a plaque on them. And this builds up in your arteries and can increase your chances of having a heart attack or a stroke by occluding that particular vein or artery. So that's something that you don't want to happen. So being very aware of how chronic stress can cause these problems. The brain also senses stress and activates the brain-gut connection. Now we know that, I'm sure you've heard that the gut is like our second brain because it has so many and produces so many enzymes and talks to our brain so well that it is the second brain. So that when we're stressed, we can experience things like irritable bowel syndrome, increased acid production in our stomach, and these can lead to things like reflux, heartburn. It can, of course, affect digestion and our waistline. So cortisol can affect your appetite, getting you to eat foods or comfort foods or energy-dense foods. And this causes deep belly or visceral fat. And this fat is the fat that is the worst type of fat. Okay, so this affects, this fat, visceral or deep belly fat, actually releases hormones and immune system chemicals called cytokines or cytokines that can increase your risk of developing chronic diseases such as heart disease and insulin resistance. So you'll hear a lot about, deep belly fat releasing enzymes and causing things like metabolic disease or diabetes type 2. So when we're stressed, we tend to crave foods that are higher in sugar content and, comfort foods or energy dense. So they're the things like chocolates, sugar, lollies, KFC, all those things that, aren't good for us. So just be aware of that. And then, stress can affect our gut. So we can either be constipated or have diarrhea. It affects the lining of our stomach. We can have things like reflux or gastric issues or gastric ulcers. My niece, when she was studying for Year 12 exams, she was so obsessed in studying and achieving that she gave herself a gastric ulcer and, had to be treated for one at the age of 17. This is what stress does. It can cause negative feelings. We can feel anxious and overwhelmed. We can be irritable. We can have sleep issues. We don't sleep so well. We toss or turn. We wake up in the middle of the night. We can't go back to sleep. And of course, then this affects us for the next day. We have low energy levels. How do we perform at work? We go to work fatigued. Deep breathing can become difficult because as we're stressed, we tend to breathe more shallow and more rapid, and we can become short of breath as well. And of course, with stress, we try to relieve our stress, and sometimes by using harmful substances such as things like alcohol or nicotine, and of course food as well. What can we do to ease stress or prevent it? Well, number one is we can take a deep breath in through our nose and we're going to exhale through our mouth. So, and out. And you can see that when you exhale fully, your shoulders actually come down as well. 3 deep breaths like that often make you feel less stressed and in control of a situation. Exercise. Get out, exercise. Go for a walk. Do some floor work, Pilates. Just do something. Get moving and get out in the sunshine. You will feel better. There are scientific methods for relieving stress or reducing stress, and some of these are things like laughter. So we always know that laughter is the best medicine, but it's actually scientifically proven. So it's not just a saying. So go see a funny movie. I mean, these are old DVDs, aren't they? But hey, Dumb and Dumber, Pink Panther, classic funny movies. So go see a movie, watch a funny movie on Netflix, go out to the movies with someone special and laugh. The second one is make out with someone. And I'm not saying go on a dating site and swipe. I'm saying with your partner, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, with your family members, have a hug. Make sure you hug. Hugging is good for you. It makes you feel connected. People who have relationship problems, like husbands and wives, or marital problems in relationships, are often given a little bit of homework, which is hug each other for 3 seconds a day. Well, why is that? Because it makes you feel better and it connects you to that person. It also reduces stress. So do that with your family. Little kids love being hugged, okay? So if your children are stressed or feeling stressed because of whatever situation you're in, give them a hug and let them know that everything's going to be okay. Okay, so feeling of contentment, kiss and hug regularly. Chewing gum. So chewing gum decreases levels of cortisol and actually makes you feel more relaxed. Who knew? I mean, we can chew chewing gum also for dental reasons as well, but hey, it reduces stress. So when someone tells you not to chew chewing gum, you can say, but it's my stress mechanism. Try, I don't know. Of course, having a house plant, a plant in your house. Now, this one has a few little bits of brown on it. If you're no good at having a real plant, make sure that you have an artificial one. And if you can't have an artificial one, have a picture of one. It doesn't matter as long as there is something green looking a green plant, whether it's a photo, artificial or real, it makes you feel better. So having a plant or some time in nature, my happy, relaxing place is the beach, the sound of water on rocks crashing. It is my stress relief. So that's what I do to help reduce my stress. Find your place where you feel most happy or most calm and, use that as well. So, spending time in nature actually decreases our cortisol levels, our heart rate and blood pressure. And it can be as easy as having, like I said, a photo of a plant in your room or a picture of a forest in your room. So having something like a cup of tea can also relax us, or it's the whole thought often, that we're sitting down, that we're taking time out, we're sipping on a cup of tea. That also helps reduce stress, as well as things like it produces the placebo effect of creating a better mood. Also things like, diffusing essential oils or, inhaling them, things like lavender. This has been shown to help with things like sleep and relaxing and reducing stress. And whether it's in a warm bath, whether it's diffused, whether it's sprayed on your pillows before you go to sleep or just applied to your temples, all these things can help reduce and make us feel less stressed. Music. Now, some people will say, I listen to heavy rock music and I feel relaxed. Well, that's scientifically no, but music at 60 to 80 beats a minute without lyrics. So without lyrics, no singing, 60 to 80 beats per minute can reduce stress. Having a pet. Now, I have a cat. Apparently dogs are better. So if you have a dog, that's even better than a cat. But having some sort of pet that you can put love on and actually helps reduce anxiety. So if you have children, the best thing that you can do is to have a pet. Kids love pets. They really do. They tell them all their troubles. They think if mum and dad have been mean, they can talk to their pet and have a little chat about it, and it makes them feel better. So pets actually reduce anxiety, so a good thing. And that often, pets get taken into places like nursing home where the aged can, stroke them and play, pat the pets and things like that. And they do cause a reduction in anxiety, so science says. And of course, fidgeting, those fidget spinners, annoying. But some people find that fidgeting actually helps them, it can either help focus on a particular task or it helps reduce stress. So, whether it's scratching your head, whether it's twirling your hair, like some people have that particular habit, whether it's doing something like popping bubbles in plastic. I love popping bubbles in plastic. It's so satisfying. It can make you feel less stressed. So I'm going to go and pop the rest of this plastic. And I'll see you next time. I hope that has helped with your stress levels and that you can take measures to reduce your stress, because what we know is you either deal with stress or stress will deal with you. And that is not a good thing. Bye for now. See ya.